Hey everyone, Patty Boy here. Welcome back to my grill. So did everybody enjoy the po' boys last weekend? I thought maybe this weekend we would pretty much stay in New Orleans. So what we're going to do is, this is my recipe for jambalaya. Now, what this started out as is several years ago, my wife and I tried what's called the Whole30 diet. And this was a jambalaya recipe that was designed for Whole30. So, wasn't bad, you know, but there's a lot of stuff cut out of it because of being a diet. So what I did was, over time, I took some stuff out, added some stuff in, moved stuff around, and basically made it into pretty much a legitimate jambalaya recipe that is my own. And then that was doing it all inside. Then I had to redo everything for doing it out here on the grill. Because let's face it, if it's done out on a grill, it's even better. I got everything sitting out here that we need, okay? All the spices, all of the vegetables, the meats, and the seasoning. So what this is this is my own Cajun seasoning, and I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to share the recipe for this, and I'm going to share the recipe for the Cajun seasoning. And so what I did was, we seasoned up the shrimp, we seasoned up the chicken, and the original recipe for this called for an andouille sausage, which it was good. I really like it. Andouille sausage is good. This right here, what we're doing today, is kind of an experiment, because I'm using chorizo sausage. So I know that chorizo is probably not your typical, you know, New Orleans thing. It's more of a Mexican, but I like the seasonings in it, so I'm going to try it. All right, so let's get started. First thing is we're going to grill the chicken and the shrimp and the sausage. And what we're doing is, we're not going to grill it all the way. I've got it seasoned with my Cajun seasoning, and we're going to grill it just enough to get the seasoning cooked into it. And it's not going to be 100% cooked, because then when we mix it in with the jambalaya, it's going to cook even more. It'll finish off. So let's get started. All right, so we're all preheated and oiled and ready to go. So let's get all this on. And like I said, we're grilling everything. So, chorizo. Now, this is going to be one of those things, when you're doing this, especially because of the shrimp, you're going to want to sit here and keep an eye on it, because, as I said before, we don't want to cook this all the way through. We just want to give it a little bit of a par cooking. Just enough to get all the seasonings cooked into it. Get that flavor imparted. Put that down gently. So, all right, remember, dirty plate, had raw food on it, get rid of it. Put it right to the sink, all right? When this comes out, you get a fresh plate. So, let's check and see what that noise was all about. Okay. There we go. All right, nothing major, guys. We're all good to go. So, it's not going to take long. We're going to sit here and keep an eye on it, and we're going to get these things cooked, and then we'll get the pot on there, and we'll get started and show you how to put this thing together. So, we're just par cooking it partially, and like I said, keep an eye on it, because these things go fast. The shrimps go fast, and they're ready to go. So, clean plate. Get these shrimp off here. See, you can tell they're still opaque, but they're just barely starting to turn pink around the edges, so they're not fully cooked. If you were to eat these now, they'd be raw. But we get it together in the pot, it's all going to come together. You'll see. This is going to be really good. You're going to love this. All right, so took the shrimp off, let the chicken go for just another minute or so. And while I was waiting, I took the pot. I don't know if you noticed the pot sitting here. It's a cast iron pot, enamel covered. But I took the cast iron pot and put it in there so it can start getting preheated. But our chicken and our sausages are done, so now we're going to take them off. All right, remember, especially this chicken, very important, it's only par cooked, so you can't go eating pieces of it. It's going to be pink in the middle, and it's not going to be good. So All right, here is all of our meat cooked. Cast iron pan on the grill, getting preheated. All right, we're gonna let this cool for a second, and then we're gonna get everything cut down and ready to go back into the pot, and then I'll show you how it all goes together. All right, so real quick like, here is everything, or at least the meat, all cut up, prepared, ready to go. All right, so what we're doing is we're keeping the shrimp separate from the chicken and sausage because the shrimp has to go in at the very end, the very last. So we're all ready to go. Let's get this thing turned around and we'll put it together. Okay, we're back. We're ready. If you guys are ready, I'm ready to put this thing together for you. So let's get started. All right, pot's on there. It's been preheating. It's nice and hot. So first thing, the vegetables. A little bit of oil. There, a little splash of oil, and we'll start getting these. We've got a medium onion. All right, and a bell pepper, whatever you want. Okay, I just happen to have a red one in the refrigerator, so that's what I use. Green, yellow, whatever you prefer. There we go. Red pepper. A couple of stalks of celery. So, and I've got pretty much a whole bulb of garlic here. There's a lot of garlic here. We're gonna put that in a little bit. All right, so I got my big metal spoon. All right, we'll get this sweated down a little bit. Get this sweated down, and then we'll add the garlic, and then after we get these sauteed, we're gonna start adding some liquids and some fluids and some sauces, and we'll get things going. So they're sweated down a little bit, and as I said, garlic. So we'll get the garlic in there now. Why do we put the garlic in a little bit later is because the garlic cooks really quick and it'll actually brown really quick. So you want the garlic in there and you want the flavor of the garlic, but you don't want it to brown and get crispy because that's just a whole different flavor, and I don't think myself personally that that's good for this. All right. So all the vegetables are in. We'll let them sweat down a little bit, and then we'll start adding some other stuff. So what's next? This is looking good and it's smelling good. Now it's time to start finishing this thing off. So we have a cup of beef stock. Now the original recipe called for chicken stock. I happen to prefer the flavor of the beef stock over the chicken stock, so I'm putting beef stock in. So there we go. Cup of beef stock. Now, the original recipe called for 2 cups of just crushed tomatoes. Well, what I did is, and you'll see on the close-up, but I've got here just a cup of basic tomato sauce instead of the crushed tomatoes. And then these petite diced tomatoes with chipotle chilies in them. So for those of you that don't know, a chipotle chili is basically, well, not basically, it is. It's a jalapeno, but it's just dried and smoked. So you're getting the flavor of a jalapeno with not quite so much heat, because when it dries and smokes, some of the heat goes away, but there's still a little bit of heat there. But then you're also getting a smoke flavor too. So I put this in with the tomato sauce. There we go. Look at that. As soon as that thing popped out of the can, you could smell the smoke flavor right away. And then just one of those small 6-ounce things of tomato paste. Huh. Well, as you guys can tell, I'm in my backyard in a neighborhood. Somebody's alarm, something or other's going off. So, well, they got it. This is my Cajun seasoning. It does have cayenne in it. And I happen to have a little bit higher tolerance for spice than most, but maybe there's others that have even higher and there's others that have less. So it's just one of those things you got to try. Is it going to be good for you? Is it going to be too hot? Is it going to be not hot enough? You also have to take into consideration doing it this way. I used the seasoning on the meat, cooked the meat, and then I'm also going to take this seasoning, just a tablespoon, and sprinkle it right into the, there we go. Oh, she's already starting to bubble too. So, for me, it's going to be good. Who knows, for somebody else, might not be hot enough, and then the next person might think it's way too hot. So, like I said, it's all in your taste. You're just gonna have to go ahead and experiment. Try it out. All right, so we'll let that get going, let that bubble a little bit, and then we'll start adding the meats. All we're gonna do is it's just gonna be put the chicken and the sausage in, and then once we get that bubbling, then at the very end we'll put the shrimp in for just a minute or two and then take it off the heat. And then it'll be ready for service. So give me a minute here and we'll come right back and get it squared away, finished up. And she's bubbling, and she's smelling good, and she's looking good. So, second to the last step, the sausage and the chicken. So you can see, like the chicken, there you go, all of it in. And this sausage, whether you use the andouille or the chorizo, that's going to impart some more oil into it. There's a lot of oil in especially the chorizo. All right, we'll let that sit for a minute, get it back up to bubbling, and then just before we take it off, we'll dump these shrimp in. So just give it a few minutes here and we'll be right back and finish her up. All right, final step. It's bubbling, it's smelling good. Here we have 1 pound of shrimp that's been cooked, partially cooked. There we go. So that's everything. That's it. Everything is in. All right, guys. There you go. Cast iron pot on the grill, New Orleans style jambalaya with all the meats grilled. So if you like hot seasoning, this is the one for you. Or you can make it this way and just back off the seasoning a little bit. Whichever way, this is a really, really, really good dish. There you have it, guys. You don't have to take everything and just put it right straight directly on the grates, okay? You can do pots and pans and whatnot, and this right here is proof of it. Plus, if you take the meat and grill it first, it's gonna just take your jambalaya or whatever next level. So, how does it get served? Turn everything off. Now, typically, this jambalaya would get served with a great big heaping of white rice at the bottom, which tonight when I have this for supper, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So, big scoop of white rice at the bottom with a piece of French bread with a little butter on it. And there you go, New Orleans style jambalaya on the grill. I hope you guys like it. I hope you try it. And please, if you can, go to YouTube and check out Patty Boy's Grill. View us, share us, and subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys, and keep on having a good summer.